Go to New York and speak with Michael Page. He's the Deputy Director of Human Rights Watch, Middle East and North Africa Division. Michael, good to have you with us. We seem to be getting more and more information about what may have happened to Khashoggi. It now seems, extremely suspicious that a Saudi team of intel officers and forensics experts arrive in Turkey the day after a prominent critic of the regime goes missing. So in your opinion, knowing Saudi Arabia as you do, is this something the Saudis could have planned?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. There's really a pile of evidence now that seriously suggests Saudi Arabia was involved in Jamal's disappearance as well as his possible murder, right? Everything from October 2nd, Jamal simply not coming out of the consulate, his fiancée, his Turkish fiancée waiting for him, to now the reports in Washington Post and other media saying that a 15-person Saudi squad came to Istanbul and was dispatched to the embassy and the consulate and the consular general's house, and at the same time that Jamal disappeared. I think we should see this in the larger context of the human rights crackdown that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has instituted as he has really gained power. And that's, all across kind of Saudi civil society and Saudi public space. Everyone from women's rights activists, prominent business persons, to reformist clerics. A number of individuals have been thrown in prison, some facing serious charges such as even the death penalty for nothing more than nonviolent activism.
Yeah, and this is absolutely the point, isn't it? That Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince, was given a lot of praise for what was seen as his reformative views. He said women could drive. He said he was planning on changing society. He was cracking down on corruption. But actually, over the past year, there has been an increasing wave of writers and critics and journalists and activists thrown into prison, as you say, some of them facing the death penalty. So should the West be taking a much harsher view of Mohammed bin Salman?
Yeah, absolutely. The reform narrative, which was pushed through millions of dollars of PR money that the Saudis paid for, and as well as that was encouraged by a self-interest of Western states, such as the US and the UK, that were selling billions of dollars of arms to Saudi Arabia, has always been mostly fictional. Right? There really hasn't been much reform at all in really the social political space of Saudi Arabia, albeit a few very specific reforms, such as the right for women to now drive. Although many of the women's rights activists that promoted and pushed that reform are now in jail and facing very serious charges only for their activism. So absolutely, the US and the UK have a whole variety of tools to punish Saudi Arabia for what appears to be a horrific crime, and they have not been transparent in the least about it. And we should give no credit to...
Well, can I ask you this, Michael? Because I'm interested in why Saudi would do this in this way. It's one thing to throw a critic into prison. It's quite another to go to such extreme lengths that you carry out, an alleged brutal attack on someone who walks into a consulate on foreign soil. Why would Saudi do that when it opens them up to much more criticism and accusations of committing international crime?
So I absolutely agree. But what we've seen the past several years is really this pattern of reckless behavior and norm breaking by Saudi Arabia that really even surpasses, their traditionally grim human rights record. Everything from their, committing of serious human rights violations, including war crimes in Yemen, to also looking to detaining activists abroad and then bringing them back to Saudi Arabia. So this is something in the recent past that I think is there's a very clear line that exists from Saudi's kind of law breaking to where we are right now with Jamal's case, which is Saudi Arabia possibly kidnapped and or murdered a relatively mild critic and former, government employee, Jamal, because his writings were critical of the Saudi government. And that's something that you can see as a pattern more broadly. people who express even mild dissent, whether it's Salman al-Aude, the cleric, whether it's women's rights activists, whether it's economists, right? They're being thrown in prison in Saudi Arabia and sometimes facing the death penalty.
Michael, good to speak with you. Thank you very much indeed for that. Michael Page there from Human Rights Watch.